Hey, how y'all doing out there? This is Pete over at D.I.Y Auto School, and today what we're going to do is we are going to go through the procedure of block sanding your primered vehicle.
Welcome to D.I.Y Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
Now, just because you did all the body work to it and you stripped it down to bare metal, you've done all the body work, and you put your 3 coats of primer on it and it looks great, doesn't mean it's ready for wet sanding. And what I mean by that is if you're trying to get that high quality, show quality car look with minimal body filler, now when I say minimal body filler, I'm talking about hammer and dolling all your dents out, getting all your high spots and low spots where they're supposed to be, and then you go over it with your Bondo. There's a lot of people that use this spray-on Bondo, for instance. My personal opinion about the spray-on Bondo, that's the easy way to cheat to make it look right for several years, because we got to think about this now. We're talking about some spray-on Bondo. And when I'm talking about spray-on Bondo, I'm talking about a product such as this one right here. All right? This is called Reface. Now, I want you to look at this very closely. You see them applying it with a spray gun. All right? And right here it says high build, no sagging, easy sanding. All right? This is literally, I don't know if everybody out there knows what polyester filler is. It's a very, very thin, wet type of Bondo, we'll call it. It's a filler designed to level out and fill in small imperfections. All right, this is literally a spray. All right, this is a spray type of that filler. It's a spray-on polyester filler. And when you spray this on there, it's very, very thick. All right, so in my opinion, when you do this, all right, it even says right here, look what it says here. It says polyester spray filler. Applied polyester. Okay, that's exactly what this is, polyester. It's sprayable polyester filler. All right, and there's a lot of people out there when they're restoring these old cars like that, when you take it to that paint and body shop, this is what they're going to use on it. And in my opinion, I believe that's the wrong way to restore a vehicle or to even do any type of body work at all, unless you have a newer style vehicle such as a late model car, let's say a 2012 for instance, or even back to 2000, and it's full of hail damage. Then you would want to go ahead and use this to fill in the imperfection of the hail damage on the roof, we'll say, or maybe the hood, if you want to save your hood. All right, then you would go to this. And make sure that you watch all the upcoming videos, if they aren't already on DIY Auto School, how to use this for that purpose. But as far as restoring a vintage, classic, antique car, or maybe just your old high school car that you could have owned back then, we don't want to use that. We don't want to use that because in several years from now, okay, it's going to start shrinking up on you. Body filler shrinks over time from getting hot, getting cold, moisture in the air, moisture in the metal, this, that, and the other. Eventually, all right, throughout the years to come, the body filler will shrink. So I was talking to you about doing all your body work to it after you stripped it to metal and putting your 3 coats of primer on it. Are we ready to really start block sanding it, wet sanding it with 400 and painting it? No, we're not. Because what we want to do first, and if you look at this door right here, you can see, all right, by my hand that I've already started this one. Matter of fact, I'm done with this one. And you see the type of block that I'm using right here, all right? What we're really going to do is we are going to hand block our panels down, our vehicle, our doors, our hood, whatever it is we're painting, we're going to block sand those down. We're going to dry sand them with 80 grit DA. I'm sorry, did I say DA? I meant hand sand. We're going to go ahead and block sand those with 80 grit file paper, and then we're going to come back with 180. So if we look at this door right here, you can see that I have blocked this door out. You can see here's a Bondo spot right here. Here's a little bit more Bondo that was here and over here. And then if you look in this area right here, you can see there was holes right here that I welded up. I welded the holes up. There was some chrome molding that went down here, and then I filled those in. And what I've done, I have taken my long block. I believe this is probably a 15-inch block, somewhere in that range of size. And this is also a flex block. These are very good blocks to have. And if there's anybody out there that wants to know the brand of this block, you can email my friend Pete or call me, and I'll be glad to tell you. But we don't want to advertise on here because we're here at D.I.Y. Auto School. I'm sorry, this one says Mini on it. This block says Mini, Southwest Rod and Custom. That's because Mini uses this block. This is actually Mini's sanding block. But today my friend Pete's using it. So if you want to know the brand block that we're using, give me an email, give me a call, and my friend Pete will be glad to tell you. But I am not going to fucking advertise on this channel for any corporation that isn't helping my friend Pete out. That's only sensible. So basically what I've done is I went ahead, and this has been dry sanded down to the perfection that now we're ready to go ahead and prime this one more time with 2 full wet coats of primer, and then come back and wet sand it down and paint it. So now that that door is done, what we need to do is we need to concentrate on this door. And I'm going to go ahead and take you through the steps of that real quick, because that's what it's all about here, is getting that high quality finish without using all that extra body filler that's going to shrink down on us later. And the tools that you want, of course, is our block sander here, our sanding block. Now this is, if you notice, this is a very large block once again, and it covers a lot of surface. That's why it's important to use the long block instead of the little short ones. We also got some 80 grit file paper here. You can see that right there. And then in this box here we got a roll of 180 grit file paper. And this is very handy. It comes in a roll of, I believe, 150 feet. I believe that's 150 feet. No, I'm sorry, it's 40 feet. Take it easy. So we got the 40 foot, and then this would be our 180 grit that we're going to use. But if you plan on buying any file paper, try to find it in a box such as this. It's real handy and it stores very well. Now, the reason that I buy the file paper of the 80 grit in this is because I use this on my air file, and it's a lot simpler and easier, and I believe it's cheaper to buy it this way than it is this way. So this is more convenient, but it costs a few more bucks, where this is flat and straight, and it has just a little bit more, and it actually costs less. Before we use our sanding block, what we want to do is make sure the sanding block, the surface of the sanding block, is free from any debris or any sticky particles that were left from the sandpaper that we used before, because the bumps and the debris left over is going to give us an imperfection when we sand it. So take your sanding block, clean it off of lacquer thinner, make sure it's solid black before you go to apply a new piece of sandpaper. And then of course what we'll do is we'll apply our sandpaper to our block. This is the stick-on style, this is not the Velcro style. So we go ahead and stick that on there just like that, and now we're ready to start block sanding. But before we start block sanding, what we need to do is go ahead and spray a guide coat on it. So if you look on here, you're going to see some black paint, there's stripes, and that's a guide coat. Now what a guide coat's for is when I get done block sanding this, it's going to show me my highs and lows. And what I mean by that, if there's any low spots in here, it's still going to have black paint in it. And if there's any high spots in it, it's going to go ahead and burn through the primer and the guide coat down to bare metal. Just like you see in this area right here on this door. But then on the other hand, if you look a little closer, you can see that there's some Bondo here. So when I burn through that primer, that's telling me that there's some Bondo somewhere in that area, and the Bondo is higher it's lifted up higher than the metal is, and that makes me want to go ahead and sand the Bondo down, if that makes any sense. So it's very important to make sure that you always have a guide coat on your item before you sand it.
Thanks for watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.